Hello. So, I have been chatting about my experience with chronic fatigue. I've been referring to it as chronic fatigue and even named the videos chronic fatigue, but I haven't actually been diagnosed medically with chronic fatigue. I refer to my chronic fatigue as such because I've experienced it for longer than 6 months. However, getting a diagnosis, like an actual diagnosis from the doctor, at least here in Australia, is really quite difficult. Reason being that there can be, because of the symptoms that a person may present with and report, those symptoms can also be attributed to many other conditions and other ailments and things like that. So I have come across some information just yesterday regarding chronic fatigue while I was just Googling, looking to inform myself a little bit more, trying to find ways to kind of improve my healing journey at the moment. Because it's been 2 years for me and I'm starting to think, isn't that just a tad too long to have to be putting up with these fatigue episodes that come and go for me? And so there I was just reading up, and I found information that means that when somebody has been medically diagnosed with chronic fatigue, it's because they have reported feeling these feelings of fatigue for minimum 6 months, like 6 months plus, but also have 4 symptoms of a list of like 10. I don't remember what they are. All I know is that, but do your own research. But all I know is that I only ticked 2 of them. So I thought, no wonder my doctor hasn't talked about actually diagnosing this thing, even though I have mentioned it to her. I think nearly every visit, every few months I say, oh yeah, I was fatigued recently, so blah, blah, blah. But yeah. So anyhow, I found out that new information and thought I'd share. But even though I've been talking about this experience of chronic fatigue, I also want to chat about, how do I put it? The experience of, it doesn't necessarily have to be fatigue. I think that's why I'm kind of stuck with the words right now. I guess it's a level of exhaustion that comes with having ADHD. And I've been thinking about this, and I think that there's at least 2 pathways for someone with ADHD to reach exhaustion. So over the past 4 years, since I discovered my own ADHD, I've been learning about it more and more, and gathering bits of info here and there from like online resources, as well as, super duper ADHD YouTubers who love to share some pretty well researched information. Don't count on me for that. I'm just here to have a conversation. And it's intrigued me as I've gotten to know different things, different facets, different factors of ADHD that have made me go, oh, that happens to me too. I thought that was normal, and it wasn't normal. So one of those things is that I've discovered that a neurotypical person can live their daily life and feel tired, like a good healthy tired, but a person with ADHD or ASD, because there's also that, but a person with ADHD will feel tired, but unfortunately not necessarily meet their needs because of the way the brain is wired, the ADHD brain is wired. keep pushing through, and then get to a level of exhaustion very quickly. I think that a person who's neurotypical might reach exhaustion if they push for a long time. Like maybe they're having really late nights and they're working really hard and there's lots going on in their private lives as well, and they might eventually hit exhaustion. But a person with ADHD might reach that level of exhaustion within, I don't know, I'm just going to throw a number out there, maybe within a few days or maybe within a week. Just a short amount of time. The two pathways that I'm thinking of are, first of all, the structure of and function of the ADHD brain in the first place. And secondly, the result of having the ADHD brain and what behaviours we end up engaging in. So let me talk about that. First of all, we have a brain. So I'm going to talk about the structure and function of the ADHD brain. We have a brain that by default, we're not sure why, I think the cause of ADHD isn't yet known, but thus far we think it's a developmental disorder that perhaps may happen from in vitro, right? And so we are lacking dopamine. Our brain lacks the ability to actually carry dopamine across the synapses, the neuron synapses. The dopamine just doesn't seem to jump across that little gap between the neuron and the dendrites of the next neuron, I guess. And therefore, dopamine is not being fed through our brain. Now, imagine for a minute, this is where my pondering comes in. Imagine that you don't have the use of, I don't know, an arm. And so you go about your life, maybe cooking and driving a car and walking and playing with your kid, but all the while you don't have this arm. It's missing. Wouldn't your body get extra tired compared to someone who had two arms? Now, over time, hopefully your body strengthens, because the body's quite resilient, right? The body strengthens and is able to compensate. You'll learn to move differently and to compensate, to help your body move better, and maybe you don't get so tired. That's just a thought, right? That's just a thought. It might be a silly thought, but if my brain, my ADHD brain, is lacking a vital chemical to function at its best, to maintain motivation, to maintain energy, etc., then doesn't it stand to reason that my brain would just get tired? At the end of each day, I would just be really tired. I find that come the afternoon, I am so ready. I mean, everyone knows about this 3 o'clock slump, right? We all go to the coffee machine and get ourselves our coffee. But I find that really just come that 3 p.m. mark, I'm actually really done with my day. I don't want to be doing any housework. I don't want to be doing any homeschool teaching. I don't want to be doing any admin for our business. I don't want to go and do groceries. I don't don't particularly, it's going to sound really bad, but I don't particularly want to socialize, even though, you know, sometimes that's the only time to be able to catch up with people is like after school. I'm just really done. I'm done with the day by then. I don't want to be doing my washing. It's like I'm really done. I need to veg out for like the rest of the afternoon. And most times I do. Well, I've had to learn to actually just veg out and not push through and get stuff done because burnout, and not just the ADHD burnout, but the breakdown that I had 2 years ago. So it's kind of like I have these two journeys going on at the moment. It's like the ADHD brain in the way it functions and I function just by default, and then I'm dealing with the breakdown that I had 2 years ago and the chronic fatigue that I'm experiencing. So okay, so I've addressed step number 1, right? That's the way the brain is, say, designed and created to begin with. Now, because of the brain that we have, we therefore love to seek out things that are exciting, things that are really going to be exciting to us, things that are like, like for me, things that aren't exciting are I don't know, kind of everything is not really particularly exciting. That's really sad. I think I've just always had a knack though to make things exciting, like in my mind. I've always had this knack to make things playful or turn it into a bit of a game in my mind, or to turn it into a bit of a me time thing. So like, for example, something that's not exciting to me is doing the dishes, right? I don't enjoy doing the dishes. I will do them every few days, and that is that. And the dishes pile up. The dirty dishes pile up, and I just don't care. Some people will be grossed out by that because bacteria, right? If I allow myself to think about it, it totally grosses me out too. But most times I'm kind of blind to it, and I'm like, meh, I'll get to it. By the time I get to doing the dishes, I actually like to think of it as me time and decide to put on like a favorite podcast that I like listening to. And that way, while I'm doing this very boring task, I'm actually, my head's off with the fairies, just really enjoying the podcast. And to me, it becomes not washing the dishes, it becomes enjoying the podcast. Oh, and by the way, I'm doing the dishes at the same time. Like that's how I've learned to overcome the not exciting things in life. So we need exciting things, like us ADHDers, and things that are exciting to us are generally, we tend to be arty and creative and problem solvers and things like that. So therefore, because we're always seeking the exciting thing, we may fall into the trap, much like I did, of not being able to say no. We say yes, yes, yes to everything because everything's exciting. So we go from nothing is exciting, I dare you to make me do the thing, to, oh my gosh, everything is totally exciting. At least that's how it is for me. And that was the trap that I fell into for quite a few years before I hit my breakdown. And I had filled my life with just exciting things. Let's just say that it was a lot of outings, because I homeschool my child, and there's so many wonderful opportunities through homeschooling. So As soon as there's like a really cool excursion come up, I'm like, oh my gosh, my daughter would love that. And I would love it. Let's go. And so we were kind of driving all over Brisbane. But also I was helping out family members who don't drive, you know, or my mum went through a period of illness where she really wasn't driving either. So I was helping out, different family members with lifts to places. And then there was... yeah, so that's what kept me busy. I was also looking after an elderly lady every once a fortnight, and I really loved doing that. She was so adorable. I miss her. She passed away just recently. She passed away a few weeks ago, and I didn't get to see her again. But anyways, so anyway, I had filled my life with things that were exciting to me. It was exciting to me to be able to help my family members. It was really exciting to me to be able to help my elderly friend, and I was, you know, babysitting my baby niece as well, and also homeschooling, and also taking my daughter to her homeschooling events, and also running a side hustle. It just got really crazy because everything was suddenly really exciting. And therefore I couldn't say no, and therefore I was saying yes to everything, taking everything on, and I got really tired, really exhausted. I feel like I'm repeating myself, right? I really am. So I wanted to chat about this today because I sometimes feel like I've learned what to do in order not to reach exhaustion / burnout. But there are times where I still find myself doing the thing, and that is saying yes to everything. So not yesterday, but the day before was a perfect example of me doing this all over again. Even though I've had 2 years now of learning how to do life in a different way, in a much more calm and serene way, you know, going for bushwalks and stretching my body, doing breathing exercises and all of this. But you can fall, right? You can fall back into your old habits. And I did 2 days ago. And therefore, guess what? Yesterday, I wasn't just tired and I wasn't just exhausted. I woke up with fatigue yesterday. I was dreading how long it was going to go for, because sometimes this can last a few days, or the last one lasted 10 days. But this one only lasted 1 day. And so what led to it? Well, the day before, I had driven my child to her homeschool activities at a co-op, homeschool co-op. I had then driven to my little sister's place to take her to a thing she had to go to. She's got a newborn and he's so beautiful, and so she's doing early mum things like going to appointments and such. Then I had to drive all the way back to my own area for my own doctor's appointment, dropping my child home along the way. And then that night, my daughter had her evening activity, during which me and hubby, we like to do stuff, you know. Most times we just go home and chill out with a movie on Netflix. But on that particular day, we were kind of in the mood to do something different, you know. And we went out to the movies. Now, after such a busy day with all of these other activities, I probably should have been wiser than that and said, no, let's chill out at home. But I didn't. And as fun as the movie was, I woke up the next day fatigued. So, and I'm thinking about it now because it only lasted 1 day. And I'm thinking, that's probably the ADHD burnout coming in right there. Because it only lasted a day, and my body just needed to speak loud and clear and say, hey, hi, Alicia, I'm here and I need rest. And I said, yes, body. Okay, body. I will spend the day, instead of working, doing my admin for my business, I spent the day doing things that I love and that I enjoy instead, just to give myself the break that I needed. So, yes, ADHD burnout really is a thing. And it helps to work out how much you should take on. So, for example, on that day, I should not have driven all over town, going to 3 different places and then gone to the movies at night. My ADHD brain was like, yes, I can do it all. It's so exciting. I get to take my daughter to somewhere fun and I get to see my sister and my baby nephew today. And then I'm going to the doctor's, yay. And then I'm going to the movies, like, but we've got to just bring wisdom into our lives and just know how much is too much. Yeah. And that's food for thought, right? That's something that only each of us can work out for ourselves, because the next person with ADHD might thrive just beautifully with that amount of activity. It would look different to everyone. But yeah, I think that what I would say to someone who's like exhausted, and I know that they have ADHD and I know that they have a really crazy life because I know what that's like, I would just be like, just pull back on one thing every now and then. You don't have to delete it out of your schedule completely, like forever, because that's scary. Just give yourself like an RDO every now and then. Give yourself a rostered day off, or even an afternoon off. Think of it as like if you were working the 9 to 5 and you worked for a boss and you just needed a mental health day, then just take it. Just do that and cancel a thing or two every now and then and have a cup of tea or a bubble bath or a glass of wine. Or one of my favorite things is just going to a cafe and sitting there by myself with notepad and pen and just journaling while I enjoy my coffee. And find your favorite thing, your favorite chill thing, and do that. I also really enjoy going for a bushwalk. That's really nice to do. So yeah, have a think. Write down all the things you love doing, you really love doing, as a chill out, and just take a day off every now and then. We need to take a day off every now and then from our ADHD. Right? Yeah, that's what we need to do. Okay, bye.